Hello and welcome back to Red Gaming Tech. Today is the 11th of November and this time I'm bringing something a little bit different, as Ken Levine, who is a Bioshock creator, has actually defended the length of Bioshock Infinite's Burial at Sea DLC, and that is of course episode 1, as it has come under fire for its rather short length, as the DLC can be finished in under 2 hours. Now, if you blast through the content, it will take you even less time, although if you choose to get the extra content and Easter eggs, that will keep you going for at least another hour. So let's say at minimum you have an hour to an hour and a half if you want to just blast through it, and maybe even up to 3 hours if you wish to get all of the extra content. Now, he did have a recent interview with Eurogamer in which he addressed this particular issue, and Levine did explain that Irrational had chosen quality over quantity, and he said, quote, "If you zip through it, then it's not a hugely long experience, but if you dig deep, it's probably 3 hours plus, if you really dig deep, but it's not the longest thing in the world. I think there are definitely people who are like, well, I want hours and hours of gameplay. I think that's your primary metric. This probably isn't the thing for you. If you want to feel like, wow, I just got a whole new experience, then that's what you get out of this. I'm very respectful of people's time and money. Journalists often ask me to tell their audience why they should buy something. I'm always very uncomfortable with that question because I don't read people's household budgets and I can't tell them what they should buy. We chose quality over quantity. As a gamer, that's a choice I usually make. Very few people would judge a movie based on how long it is." Now, people are comparing the length to other DLC. For example, Bioshock's 2 rather critically acclaimed Minerva's Den expansion, which did create an entirely new tale within Rapture that served as an epilogue to the main game. Now, apparently, according to Levine, the difference with Burial at Sea was the amount of time and effort needed to recreate Rapture with the Bioshock Infinite engine. And he said, quote, "We had a choice. Minerva's Den is terrific. I love it, and it's effectively what we call a kit bash of Bioshock 2. They take existing assets and modify them to make a new story. They did an amazing job with that, but we want to do something completely different. If you look at it, Burial at Sea is really the first level and a half of a new game. Maybe not a game, but of a sequel. And we knew that it meant it wouldn't be the longest gameplay experience. Cobbling together new Columbia areas, just more levels, a couple of new guns, new monsters, would have been the easier route, and this was pretty much easily admitted by Levine, but that wasn't a route they wanted to take." And he said, quote, "Maybe I'm an idiot. From a money perspective, I have no way of knowing that. But to be honest, I don't really care that much because I work at a company that values quality and puts a huge premium on quality. I believe that if you build quality, people will come. People told us that when we made Bioshock 1, they had multiplayer, so nobody would buy it because there was no replayability. I think people respond to quality. Maybe I'm a fool. From early on, we knew we wanted to do something with Booker and Elizabeth, and we had a sense that Rapture could be the thing. And probably foolishly, we thought we'd go back in and kitbash a load of Bioshock 1 assets. Then we thought, no, God, that's a terrible idea. That's not fair, and it's not going to look good. I never picked the particularly smart approach. Hey, let's not build Rapture, let's build Columbia. Hey, now let's build Rapture but completely afresh with new assets and a new engine. Hey, let's take all of game systems we designed in Infinite and modify them so they belong in Rapture. So we basically have 3 versions of Bioshock combat now. Bioshock 1 combat, Bioshock Infinite combat, and the hybrid that appears in Burial at Sea. We have this new engine, so we should take advantage of it. And hey, let's make all the shops and build 3D scenes out of the window, which we never had in Bioshock 1. And let's put people in the world and make it all huge and shiny and build everything fresh, or almost everything fresh. So yeah, we got carried away a little bit, I won't deny it. But hey, I don't want to work on something that I feel is kind of a B in quality. You might as well go for it. The company is okay with it, so why the hell not?" And to be honest, I have to give a hearty applause and thumbs up to Ken Levine here. I completely and utterly agree. Let's look at this with a little bit of perspective. As someone rightfully pointed out in the comments of the original article, the average length of games these days is usually about 8 to 10 hours, sometimes 12, sometimes 14, but usually you're looking at about 10 to 12 hours roughly on average. Of course, I haven't done in-depth research, but that's just from years of gaming, and I have noticed that, and I'm sure most of you have noticed that as well. So I don't think that it's unreasonable to pay for DLC that is 2 hours long. especially when it costs $14.99. And of course, Bioshock Infinite, the full game, is a full priced AAA release. So I don't think this is unreasonable, and 2 to 3 hours of content in Rapture that hasn't just been basically reused from old assets or what have you is more than reasonable. Quality over quantity is definitely something that needs to be observed. Now, if it was an hour long, maybe I would understand people's complaints, but 2 hours is pretty reasonable for the price, especially when you understand that if they've had to recreate all of Rapture, or the section that you see at least, using the new engine. Of course, that costs time, that costs money, and they could have just basically made a DLC in Colombia and you reused the old assets, or done it in Rapture but used it from the old engine and then have it look slightly outdated in comparison to the upgraded graphics and the different graphics of Infinite. None of us would want that. I don't think we'd want a couple of extra hours for the sake of all that quality. I think it's much better to have a all-round polished experience and have it be a little bit shorter due to time and money constraints than to have a 4 hour long thing that's kind of, yeah, it was alright. I'd rather go, yeah, that 2 hours was awesome, rather than go, yeah, that 4 hours was okay, and then forget all about it. That's not what they want. They want to make an impression on you, and I think it's more than reasonable. Now, given the amount of work they put into it, yeah, I say it's more than reasonable. So I think anyone who expects DLC to be stupidly long is kind of being a little bit unrealistic, especially when it's so cheap. If it was, say, oh, I don't know, $30 or something like that, then yeah, you'd have a right to complain. It should be longer than that for $30, but it's not $30, it's $15 essentially. So I think just a little bit of perspective was needed, and to be honest, I heartily agree with Ken Levine's statements here. Anyway, that is me done for this video, but I would like to hear your thoughts on this. Do you agree with what Ken and I have been saying, or do you choose a different opinion? Of course, I always want to hear from you guys down in the comments section, so do let me know. As I said though, that is me done. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.